In this game, greatness is measured by the moments that defy the odds. The crack of the bat, the roar of the bleachers, and the rare perfect sequence of excellence. From the first pitch to the final out, we aren't just watching the game, we're breaking it down. From the Empty the Bench Network, it's time for you to step into the box. You are hitting for the cycle. And now, here's your hosts, Ben Cruz, David Waitman, and Ryan Toohey.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Hitting for the Cycle. I'm your host, Ben Cruz, alongside my co-host, David Waitman and Ryan Toohey. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Spring training games officially kick off tomorrow, so I'm very excited. And I'm very looking forward to baseball season. It's back.
How are you doing, David?
Doing good. Snow has melted. Some college baseball's already kicked in the first week, which some teams have scored 30-plus runs already, which is always interesting to see. But like Ryan said, ready for some spring training baseball starting this weekend. Yeah.
Baseball is back. I mean, obviously, everybody's pretty much back at the respective places spring training wise that they are at. Now we're not at the point in time where, players are eligible. Well, people are going to sign, but it's really like at this point in time, it's a lot of just later comers. So there's a lot we have to get into. But of course, before we get into all of it, make sure to follow us on all of our respective socials. Obviously, starting here down below at Hitting for the Cycle. Make sure to subscribe to the Empty the Bench Podcast Network on YouTube. Also, make sure to follow us all across social media at the Empty the Bench Network. Also, make sure to follow Hitting for the Cycle at HFTC, ETB. And then, of course, follow me at Ben Cruz 90. I actually have it down on the ticker for once, starting. And then Ryan Toohey at R2. And then follow David at Waitman Stats. All right, guys. So, like you guys mentioned, baseball is officially at its spring training phase, which is very, very exciting stuff. Now, I'm doing really, really well, by the way. I did not mention that. I have been watching the Olympics. So I've really been keeping tunes on USA Hockey as they are trying to get a gold medal, which I'm very, very excited for. Women's, they're playing on the day of this recording today against Canada later this afternoon. And then obviously US had a thrilling game yesterday against Sweden, 2-1. But obviously we're not here to talk about that. Just want to obviously kind of get that off my chest really quick because obviously besides baseball and obviously like football and other sports being done, that's really kind of what I've been looking at. And then after the Olympics are done on Sunday, it's really us, guys. I know baseball, it's pretty much that. And, World Baseball Classic in a couple weeks. It's going to be March next week, which, I feel like February literally was just starting yesterday. So crazy stuff. But, so let's get into everything. So we're just going to obviously start with our usual, our latest MLB signings and trades. And, guys, really this week, there really was not a whole lot when it came down to the signings and trades that at least I can get to. I don't know if you guys have any specific, moves or big things that happened over the past week, but I don't really think there was a lot of stuff. I mean, if you guys want to kind of say anything really quick about that I missed maybe?
I think the only move that really stood out to me was Zach Gallen going back to the Diamondbacks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember we talked about that little in the day recording last week. I said, don't be surprised if we're probably going to see Zach Gallen go somewhere within the next week because obviously it didn't happen last week. And yes, Gallen did go back to the Diamondbacks, 1-year deal. I think that was a very, very decent signer for them. And, I still think the Diamondbacks still need a lot personally to compete with the Padres and the Dodgers. But I do think that they can potentially be like a laid-back walk-cart team at best if pretty much everything kind of puts everything together when it comes down to that. So,
quick on the Zach Gallen thing real quick. Did he get the market wrong? By that meaning, he was offered the same contract, turned it down. Was he thinking, I'm going to get a Framber Valdez deal? And it blew up in his face, and he's like, I guess I have to go back to Arizona for him to 1-year deal. That's what I'm
Yeah,
curious.
well, apparently John Heyman, one thing I do know is John Heyman did say that he got some offers that were higher from other teams, but he decided to come back. So I think that was kind of more of just him, just kind of being like, all right, it's a 1-year type of prove it deal. I can pitch at a specific place where I feel comfortable at. And, if I excel at this, then I could go back there on the market and maybe get something that maybe I wanted to get this offseason. Because, there was probably a couple teams, probably like Baltimore, probably some other places where, like, they can overpay, but they probably looked at his stats from last year and they're like, I don't know. It was very, like, up and down for a guy like him. So I think that maybe this year he can kind of, try to test it again. Like they say, really on a prove it deal, it's a low risk, high reward type of thing. He's pretty much in a place where he's very, very comfortable at. So I could see Gallen kind of having a resurgence here this year, in a place where he's been good at, obviously outside of last year. So, that's really kind of it. In terms of like the trade market, there's still kind of rumblings out there about a guy like CJ Abrams' name from Washington. I just don't think a guy like him is going to get moved. Obviously the schoolboy stuff, that's obviously going to wait until probably the deadline. So yeah, I mean, there really isn't anything that I really personally know. I am curious about the Yankees, Ryan. I don't know if like you said last week, you feel like that they're done, but I did read something that I found very, very fascinating yesterday, that they might put Ryan McMahon as the backup shortstop this season. That was something that apparently they were talking about. McMahon has not played a lot of games at shortstop, but they're probably looking at Volpe's situation as like he just had way too many errors last year. And so I guess, having McMahon at shortstop could be kind of something fascinating. Of course, maybe if the errors kind of continue to be at a kind of an alarming rate. So I'm just kind of shocked maybe with Ryan's sake about maybe adding some infield depth potentially. I just don't know if there's any guys for you, Ryan, that maybe they can maybe target at this point in time. I mean, that's kind of why I like a guy like IKF, even though I really wasn't big on it, because at least he can be kind of versatile. That's something that kind of like we have, I think, this year than we haven't had in the past is, if we're going to win a lot of games this year, it's going to be coming down to our pitching, and our pitching needs to have good defense, which we, of course, have not had the last couple of years, especially at least in the infield. So, yeah, there really is not a lot of other names out there at this point in time that, I mean, I look at him like, all right, this guy has got to get off the board. I think most of everybody's gotten off the board at this point. So,
yeah, well, in regards to McMahon possibly moving to shortstop, he really has no experience whatsoever playing shortstop. He's only logged 3 career innings at shortstop.
Yeah,
He's
like
had
I said,
more experience at second base and first base. But, with the way that Volpe played shortstop last year, it was unacceptable, and the Yankees really can't afford to have that happen again this year. So I think they're really emphasizing the importance of tightening up their defense up the middle. And, the Yankees can't afford to have Volpe play as bad as he did last year at shortstop. So they're really keeping their options open. Volpe's on very thin ice going into this season.
Yeah, you said it a lot, even in the offseason, about Volpe's name, in which I think a lot of Yankee fans are looking the exact same way. I do think, that you guys do have a good guy in Jose Caballero, who I do think has some pretty good versatile experience. And I even felt that last year. Last year I thought he started to play more in the second half, because I think that the Yankees kind of looked at this and said, listen, I mean, I remember you were saying, Ryan, when we talked about Volpe last year, he had wasn't that shoulder? Of course, that was kind of affecting his swing.
He tore his labrum in his left shoulder.
Yeah, so he had that. And then so of course that affected him with obviously the throwing errors that he had, and then some of the swings that he had were terrible and ugly, at least for a while. He did, of course. Volpe's just kind of that frustrating player because you know that there's more potential than there is. And it's just never, you just never know if like it'll ever like actually get there. I guess
Yeah.
if you kind of feel that way.
Yeah, he took a massive step back. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So there is one name that I've not mentioned. Actually, hold on. There's a couple names that I've not mentioned yet that are still free agents. And I mean, if you guys obviously want to quickly kind of go into these names. So Lucas Giolito is still out there on the market. Now, Giolito was with the Red Sox last year, and he was pretty solid for us in the first half. Kind of given kind of exceeded a little bit of expectations. He did not pitch in the playoffs against your Yankees, Ryan. And, of course, we had to kind of go to a young kid in Connolly early who did okay. kind of, obviously asking for a lot, from a kid. Having to go to Yankee Stadium, for your first ever playoff appearance. Obviously didn't go deep, but I think that was kind of more of a core plan. But, there is a team out there for Giolito that I'm looking at right now. And I don't know if you guys saw this. And, of course, this will lead into, of course, our latest key injuries. Did you guys see the injury to Pablo Lopez potentially?
Yes.
Pablo Lopez could be done for the season before, of course, we even know it. He is right now dealing with some really bad injury, throwing injury. And, the Twins obviously really didn't have a lot of expectations, of course, coming into the season. But if there was kind of something to kind of keep their head high on, it could have been their pitching. I mean, of course, I think Pablo Lopez is a pretty decent, solid number 2 behind Joe Ryan. And I think a guy like Giolito, of course, can kind of go with the Twins. It's a very Twins-esque type of move for maybe a 1-year type of deal. That's obviously not going to be the same type of production as a Pablo Lopez, but do you guys feel like that could be a potential destination for a guy like Giolito? Is like a team like the Twins?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if he's going to be picked up by any contenders necessarily, but I think a team like the Twins that's not necessarily in contention. I think basically any team is possible really for Giolito at this point. I mean, I think he could also get minor league contract offers as well, possibly. So, I don't see him going to a contender, but I think he can go to just basically about any other team in baseball.
How about you, David? What do you think?
I have a team that actually, because there's another injury happened, I think he'd be an interesting fit there. How about Atlanta?
I was going to say the Braves too.
With Schwellenbach out now?
Yeah, that's going to be a long-term thing as well too. So
I'm just real quick. I'm looking at Giolito's numbers last year: 10-4, 26 starts, 3.41 ERA. I mean, he could fit. What do you think? A 2 or 3 in Atlanta?
I feel like number 3. I think he's a number 3, a really good number 3 with number 2 upside.
I mean, you give him a 1-year deal, good, good money, whatever it is. I definitely could see Atlanta. Atlanta's going to have to do something because they seem like their entire pitchers, starters, relievers, are all having arm injuries. So he seems like a good fit there. He would be at least. And, but I mean, like I said, with Lopez out with the UCL tear, I mean, he could go to, like you said, the Twins. And we know the Twins are really not going to be that strong this year. And then you could flip them for a trade in the summertime. So,
yeah. Another team too that I was looking at as well was the Orioles. The Orioles, I still think, might just need another guy in that rotation. Of course, you have guys like Kyle Bradish and Dean Kramer, a bunch of guys, but they've had some guys with some injury risk recently. Mm-hmm. So Giolito, I think, could be a guy. Yes, he of course has some injury risk, but he can kind of come in and kind of just give you some innings. That is one thing I did like about Giolito last year with the Red Sox was he did bring innings. I think for the most part, of course, there's going to be some flare-up starts here and there, but he was pretty good overall when it came to that. We did not mention, as well as I was thinking about trades and signings, Nicholas Castellanos. Of course, last week we talked about Nicholas Castellanos, and I think we all said the Padres. Ryan, I think I maybe guessed the Rays, but that's just kind of just a random guess. Castellanos was saying at Padres camp that he was very fortunate and thankful that a team like the Padres were able to kind of bring him in. And I think it would be an interesting fit. I mean, I know that the Padres are more kind of a pitcher's park than anything, but he's a very good gap hitter, and Petco is a park where it's a lot bigger, so there might be some opportunities for him to have some gap hits, extra base hits for Castellanos. So, of course, you put him in. He's probably going to be in your number 5-6 hole. I mean, they just have such a great deep lineup, of course, with Machado and Tatis. Cronenworth is still there, and some other guys as well. But yeah, what do you guys think, really quick, on Castellanos to San Diego?
I think it's fitting for him. I think it's a nice addition for the Padres lineup, and I think that Castellanos could benefit from playing in San Diego. Personally, I like what you said. I think he does. I think he'll definitely take advantage of the gaps at Petco Park. He'll be much more of a line drive hitter, I think, there than compared to maybe when he was in Philly. He'll be able to use the gaps a little bit more there. I'm just a little curious as to where they put him because you got Tatis out there in right field. So I guess they might just have to move him over somewhere else, possibly maybe left or center. I don't know exactly where he goes, but it definitely gives the Padres a little more right-handed pop in that bat. And also it's not too far down the left field line, so maybe he can hook a couple of extra home runs down there. So overall, I think it's fitting. I think it's a good pickup for the Padres, and I think it's good for Castellanos.
Right now on Fangraphs, on the lineup, they don't even have Castellanos in their starting lineup. So they have Castellanos currently right now as a first base and outfield. And right now, the first baseman and outfield situations for the starting lineup for the Padres, the first baseman is Gavin Sheets, who was pretty good for them last year. So I could definitely see that. And then their outfield, they have Tatis in right. They got Jackson Merrill, who I did not mention, who's very, very good as well in center. Yeah, so and then in left field, they have Ramon Laureano, who they brought in last year, did very, really well. So Castellanos for them, David, might be just a bench piece. In which, well, he could be a DH, but they also have Miguel Andujar, who they just brought in as well. And he is right now reportedly going to be in their starting lineup in terms of according to Fangraphs. So they might use Castellanos kind of as like a Swiss Army knife. They probably will maybe try to use him. Was he good against lefties, David, from what I remember, or no?
I always feel like he was always a good hitter against lefties wherever he played at.
Okay, so maybe he's kind of like their guy against lefties, kind of the way I see it. So there are a couple of other names that I did also see on Sports Illustrated that were still unsigned. Starling Marte is a not game currently still out there. Of course, we can go to maybe some teams with him maybe next week. And then Tommy Kahnle. You want to bring Tommy Kahnle back, Ryan?
No.
Tell us how you really feel.
Tommy change up Kahnle? No, thanks. That ship has sailed.
All right. So we heard it.
Change up. Yeah, that'll fool the Dodgers.
We heard it loud and clear from our Yankee fan about Tommy Kahnle. So he is still out there. I feel like Tommy Kahnle is like a good, you were Sacramento A. I feel like he could just go there and have no pressure and throw as many changes as he wants. But he's out there. And then Zach Littell is still out there as well. He's kind of a guy that you can probably put in as like your 3-4 as well. So, those are just a couple names that are still out there that I did not mention at first, but they still are. All right, let's get into injuries. So, of course, last week we talked about guys like Lindor and Jackson Holliday and Corbin Carroll. There was some media clips regarding those couple of those guys that I did not put in here, but I can kind of translate it at least kind of in terms of like what they said. So Corbin Carroll was on the Foul Territory podcast, and he told, I don't know if it was Todd Frazier or somebody else, that he is trying to be on track to play for opening day. That's what Corbin Carroll mentioned. Francisco Lindor said that he currently right now, so he was, I think, the way that he injured himself was I think was taking swings BP. Not this past Friday, but the Friday before. And a couple days after, he just felt kind of something weird. They put him in for an MRI, and just now he's pretty much shut down for 6 weeks. He was kind of just at Mets camp. There's a lot of just clips now, at least you're kind of seeing Twitter clips of spring training, guys feeling ground balls, just kind of getting that overall feel back. And you see like Lindor at Mets camp just kind of, being around all the infielder guys like Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty, and a couple others. So he's still, of course, even though he's, of course, not playing, he's still bringing a positive mindset to the Mets, and that is one thing that Lindor has been really good with. So I think he's going to, of course, help out with that a lot. And then, Jackson Holiday, he's probably going to be a very similar situation in terms of that. But in terms of the new injuries, so Pablo Lopez obviously was one guy. Ryan, I guess I'll have to go to my doctor here. Is there anybody else I have missed in terms of injuries?
I don't think there's anybody else notable who's dealing with significant injury, at least. But Lopez has a pretty severe injury. Hold on a sec. I think he has a tear in his UCL, and I think he's going for a second opinion to see if he, in fact, needs Tommy John surgery, one way or the other. I think Lopez is not pitching this year. I think he's done for this year, unfortunately, and it sucks. Lopez is a very good pitcher. He was probably going to be a trade piece for the Twins at the deadline to maybe pick up some prospects, but Lopez, in all likelihood, going to miss the 2026 season, and in all likelihood, he's probably going to get recommended for Tommy John surgery, and he's probably going to need to go under the knife for that, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm reading here from MLB Network that he injured it during a live batting practice session on February 16th, which was ended prematurely following his second pitch of the third simulated inning, and he's going to get a second opinion from Dr. Keith Meister. You talked about the Braves, David. So Spencer Schwellenbach and Hurston Waldrop. So Schwellenbach is undergoing an elbow cleanup that he had on February 18th, and the Waldrop is going to have a similar procedure on February 23rd. They do not have a timeline for that. Yankees, Ryan, Schlittler, Volpe, Rodon, and Garrett Cole. So Schlittler threw a bullpen session on the 17th, so that's the latest on him. Volpe resumed taking dry swings the week of February 16th, marking the beginning stage of the hitting progression. He won't be ready for opening day, but he has not been ruled out for April as a return. Carlos Rodon threw his fifth bullpen session on Valentine's Day as he's working back from an offseason surgery to shave a bone spur and remove loose bodies from his elbow. He's targeting to come into late April for Carlos Rodon. And then Garrett Cole threw approximately 30 pitches in his latest bullpen session. That was really cool to see. Listen, I'm a Red Sox fan, but taking my bias aside, Garrett Cole being back is good for the league, good for you guys. And, I think just him being just on that mound, throwing those bullpen, stuff with Max Fried side to side. That's, I think, what a lot of Yankee fans are dreaming about. And they got the chance to see that at firsthand this year. Rafael Devers, though, is going to be playing them the first week, and just better watch out for that. So, sorry.
I actually have some breaking injury news, which is courtesy of Andy Koska. And in Baltimore, it continues to get worse. Jordan Westbrook now not participating, according to their manager, when he's being evaluated. When asked if it was the elbow or oblique, the manager had no comment, declined to talk about it. So he's got an elbow, or so now you have Holiday out, and now you might have Jordan Westbrook out long term.
That's not good.
Well, we are going to be getting into our American League Division picks later on the show, and the Orioles were a team that a lot of people were hoping that they may become on a up climb this year, but we saw with the Braves last year, Ryan. Injuries could be just definitely something that could just damper a season, and David, thank you for that breaking news right out of the gate on the show. And, of course, if you have any more, Jordan Westbrook is a guy that is a good player. He plays really good defense. And if he has to be out for a long period of time, I guess that's obviously where he missed a guy like Ramon Arias, right? But Chris Bryant, Chris Bryant, man, what a fall off Chris Bryant had. He won the World Series over the Cubs, and now of course he's turned into another. Ryan, do you think he's turning into another Anthony Rendon, or he just feels like he just has no luck at all?
I'd like to probably equate his luck to maybe David Wright at this point.
It's actually a very, very good comp. Yeah, David Wright. Chris Bryant has lumbar degenerative disc disease. I have not heard of that at all. I'm not a doctor per se. Even us, Ryan, our doctor here. I mean, we have no idea what that is, but he got that at Rockies camp on February 17th, so that was 2 days ago. He's still unable to run, and he's going to be heading back to Vegas to rehab. They did talk to Brian at camp, and he just seems very like upset and just so annoyed about it. Sucks. It really sucks. I mean, the Rockies obviously weren't going to go anywhere anyway, but he could be. I think he's back on the 60-day IL, so he's not going to be playing baseball again for a while again, unfortunately.
I mean, you hear his day-to-day life. It sounds like it's hell. I mean, it's probably he's going to retire, but that's what he even says. I'm in pain when I wake up in the morning every day. He said something about toothpaste. Like he said something like I was pushing toothpaste and I'm having balance issues. I mean, this is like now you're talking about quality of life, let alone baseball and everything else. I mean, it's one of those things with him in Colorado to see him just go after this year to just go, give me a buyout. I got to fix it. Because like I said, I got, 30, 40, 50 more. He's 34 years old. Yeah. It's just like you have quality of life. Like you want to at least still continue to walk and, you don't want to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 40, 45 years old because you got this back issue. I mean, it's horrible. It's bone on bone.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something that nobody, of course, wants to go through. And definitely wish him the best. Of course, he's going through something that I don't think many people can do. Tommy Edman and Bruce Meyer from the Dodgers are currently battling some injuries. And, I mean, there's, of course, a bunch of other different guys as well. We don't, of course, have to get through all of it. But, looks like my good old friend Hunter Dobbins is going through some stuff as well. So that's that. All right. So we're going to now get into what are some storylines to follow for our respective teams leading into spring training. Of course, that starts tomorrow. So I'm going to go with my Red Sox first. And obviously, spring training games do not count. They do not matter. But what you could kind of take out of spring training games is it matters for some guys. And it matters for some younger pitchers that sometimes you find a guy and a diamond in the rough that just excels in spring training and kind of comes on the map. So I'm looking at a guy like Christian Campbell, for the Red Sox, who obviously is one of our top prospects. And he got sent down the second half last year and just never kind of felt himself. He had actually ended up changing his swing a little bit. And I think just for him, to kind of get himself some more reps in the spring training, kind of see like how he looks. Masataka Yoshida, what is his future like with this team? Because he's had some comments the last couple of days about how it's just not exactly like what expected, for him. And so I'm kind of curious to kind of see like what happens to Masataka Yoshida, down the road here. And then also just kind of looking at the bullpen, how does Weiser look? How does Whitlock look? Whitlock obviously going to go into USA, so he's probably going to be pitching a little bit. Anybody really, too, that is going to be pitching the World Baseball Classic or hitting the World Baseball Classic, we'll get some opportunities. And Roman Anthony, my guy Roman Anthony, Ryan, we talked about Corbin Carroll missing the World Baseball Classic. Who replaced him? No other than Roman Anthony for my Boston Red Sox. So I'm very, very excited for that. Congrats to Roman. Very well deserved. He was very, very excited when he heard about the news. Of course, don't want to hear about Corbin Carroll and the injury, of course, he had. Nobody, of course, wants to wish that on anybody. But really happy for Roman. And he is going to be playing, I think, left field for US. So he definitely probably playing a little bit more. Jaron Duran, another guy who's going out to the World Baseball Classic. So for me, I think just guys have to stay healthy. That's another thing too. Spring training is, of course, great. Of course, get baseball back and see some guys with the ball and run around. But it's all about health. Of course, you want to keep your guys healthy. And that's really it for me. Ryan, what are some of your storylines for your New York Yankees that you're kind of looking at leading into spring training games this weekend?
Well, the Yankees have two promising minor league pitchers that could be making their debuts relatively soon, possibly. Their number 3 prospect, Elmer Rodriguez, is going to start the first Yankee spring training game tomorrow against the Orioles. And then on Saturday, their number 2 prospect, Carlos Lagrange, is going to start for them. And the Yankees have a lot of expectations for these guys. And Lagrange put on quite the show. He struck out Aaron Judge in a batting practice session with a 102-mile-an-hour fastball. So there's a lot. Yeah.
Do you support that from pitchers, like early on this part of this season, spring training, to kind of go guns blazing to throw that hard? I mean, maybe because for a guy like him, if you obviously wants to put an impression, but I don't know. Like, I'm just very indifferent about that. Like, I understand that you, of course, want to throw that hard, but of course, you don't want to risk any type of injury risk before the season either, too.
Oh, I get it. I get your point, and I understand your side. I can also understand why Lagrange would want to show off the arm for the Yankees. He's trying to make the big leagues.
Well, striking out Aaron Judge too. I mean, that's pretty.
Striking out Aaron Judge is not too shabby either. You throw 102 miles an hour, you're able to strike out the guy who's won 3 AL MVP awards in the last 4 years. It's one way to get your name out there. So, as long as he's not doing it constantly, if he wants to throw like 102-mile-an-hour fastball, once in a while in spring training, don't overdo it. Obviously, pitchers go down more easily nowadays than they ever do. So, as long as he's not overdoing it, I'm all right with it. But yeah, just please, for the love of God, be careful. We don't need a 22-year-old going under the knife already and getting Tommy John surgery, because we'd like to see you pitch in the big leagues. We'd like to see you possibly be in a rotation with Cam Schlittler and Max Fried for foreseeable future. So as long as he's not overdoing it, once in a while, I guess is fine. But yeah, those guys definitely look like they're going to be on the Yankees' radar for this year, possibly to make their debuts. I'm also curious to see what Spencer Jones does this spring, whether or not the Yankees are going to bring him up to the major leagues this year. I mean, he's been in the minor leagues ever since the Yankees drafted him. I mean, he's had some spring trainings where he's obviously shown his pop. A couple of years ago, he had a monstrous home run against the Tigers in spring training that almost went, I think, 500 feet or something like that. So, and I'm also curious with Jason Dominguez this spring. Are the Yankees going to send him down to AAA to begin the season? Because there were rumors about them doing that. The Yankee outfield is obviously very crowded for 2026. And so, there's a lot of pressure on Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez here to try and make the big league clubs. So I think those are the big storylines I'm looking at the Yankees for spring training this season.
You mentioned about Spencer Jones. And before I go to you, David, Spencer Jones – credit, it's only clips that we can be able to kind of see in spring training, but he's apparently, Ryan, has been changing up his stance a lot. And
it's hideous to look at. Honestly, I hate his batting stance.
David, I don't know if you've seen Spencer Jones's stance at all, but he reminds me of a guy. I think it was from the Orioles that had a really funky looking stance that I think he had 1 foot in the batter's box and 1 foot out, and he kind of had his back kind of like this at all.
Tony Bautista.
Ryan, this is why I can rely on you, my friend. Because I was trying to get that name for the last couple of days. I'm like, there was that one guy that, of course, that just kept on working on his stance and fixing it left and right. Spencer Jones has a very looking type of stance in which he either has a big leg kick or he's trying to limit the leg kick. And Ryan, a lot of people have been saying on social media that he could be another Joey Gallo. But I'm not going to go that far. I
don't know if anybody can beat Joey Gallo. It looked like Joey Gallo went up to the plate trying to strike out.
Yeah, I saw it firsthand when he was on the Yankees live, and the crowd ovation was not very pleasing, to say the least, for Joey Gallo. So, David, I'll go to you though. And hopefully Spencer Jones actually starts to play well because I think he's really, really good. But we'll see what happens. David, I'll go to you though. Your overlook on your Phillies.
Yeah, well, first thing I saw Spencer Jones last year up at Lehigh Valley when he was in AAA. Saw his numbers and thought, this guy's the real deal. He was actually facing Andrew Painter. He struck out 3 times that game, but hit a foul ball about 475 feet. When he hits it, it goes.
Right.
So maybe he did adjust his stance, but no, I think he's going to he's got to be in the majors this year. I mean, he's what, 22, 23, Ryan?
He's older than that. I think he's like 25 now.
Oh, is he? Okay. I think there's a lot of potential there. I really do. I really liked when I saw him, but Of course, the game I go to, he strikes out a ton. Regarding the Phillies, there's 3 things for me. Number 1 is Justin Crawford. I want to see what he does spring training. He's probably going to win the center field job. It's about time. He's not a guy who's going to hit home runs, but he puts up for average and does everything else fine. So hopefully he has a really good spring. That's number 1. Number 2, like I mentioned, Andrew Painter. Saw him 3 times last year down the minors. Really good arm. The issue with him was control, but in the offseason, plus he was coming off major surgery. He was out for 2 years. So that's another one. And then the other one, which I think is not really mentioned in here in Philly a lot, but it should be, is the revamped bullpen. How it's going to be this year. I mean, you have Alvarado coming back from his PED suspension, and he said it's past him. Okay. You got Keller from the Cubs in a free agent move. Yep. You got Jonathan Bolin, who's out of options they got from Matt Strom. Yeah. You got a Zach 5 guy and Zach McCambley. And then they have another guy they got out of options, which is a veteran, and Zach Pop. But I'm not really sold on him. And then they got 2 other guys they picked up as well. One was a trade, one was a free agent. Kyle Backus and Chase Shugart for the Pirates. So it's a whole thing with that bullpen. You want to see, especially in the middle part, who makes the team and who goes down to AAA. So it'll be an interesting battle there amongst that. But everything else is pretty much settled in Philadelphia with the team.
What's the latest with Kirker and David? Right now, I looked on the roster right now. It says he's injured.
I think it's just the same thing. It's just trying to get his body back, whatever else. It was like they talked to him about the thing, and it was all about last year, what happened against the Dodgers thing, and he's just like, "That'll be with me forever. I'm trying to move on," type of thing, whatever. It's like it wasn't like he was combative. It was just like, this is what it is. So I feel like the beginning first week, everybody has their body issues, like trying to get back into a routine and everything else. So
yeah, I mean, the one thing I think you guys will have, I mean, you look at maybe like a guy like Taijuan Walker, who just doesn't maybe have it anymore as like a starter, but maybe be kind of like a longer relief guy. I don't know, just if you guys obviously have some guys that just need to, they can't pitch right away, they're kind of shut down for the start, but,
Well, they did announce the first 4 starters for the spring training games. He's number 4, so I think he's starting next Tuesday, but they showed the start. They're going with a lot of bullpen guys. One of their games, I think this Sunday, they already said bullpen game. So, because Winter Classic, the World Baseball Classic and other stuff, they're all gone. I mean, Wheeler's out, Luzardo's gone, Nola's gone, Walker's going to be gone soon. Sanchez is gone. You're going to go with a lot of unknowns. So, yeah.
Well, that's also maybe a blessing in disguise because they say in baseball you cannot have enough pitching. And so if some of your guys go down, some of your big dogs go down, and this is, of course, why you have an opportunity for some other guys, of course, to come in and have a chance, right? So that'll be that. But that is our latest storylines for spring training. And, guys, like we said, spring training is this weekend, so it should be very exciting stuff. All right. Dave, you're going to get the chance to have a prediction with us. So last year, Ryan and I had a prediction for what we called the Pecoa prediction.
Pecoa.
Yeah, thank you. And they basically predicted what their predictions were. So, Ryan, I'm just trying to remember because what were your predictions? How do your predictions go last year? Because I know you're pretty good with it when it comes to remembering how your predictions went. But I don't know. I remember for my American League, I predicted the Yankees to the American League. My Central, I predicted, I think the Guardians. And then I remember for the West, I predicted the Astros, and that did not work. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to kind of just go around. We're going to start in the American League East. So, of course, the American League East, for people that do not know the American League East teams, you got the Baltimore Orioles, my Boston Red Sox, Ryan's New York Yankees, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the runner-up from last year's Toronto Blue Jays. So I'm going to go first, and we're basically just, David, pretty much the way it's kind of going to go is you're just kind of pick the division winner, and you're pretty much just going to kind of work your way down when it comes to the teams in terms of how you have it in order. So for me, I look at this team that was just right there at the end. They have a pretty good nucleus in terms of power, guys make contact, and I'm going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays. This was a team last year for me that I doubted a lot. I give them credit. I think Ryan actually was very high in the Blue Jays last year. And, they obviously lost Bichette, but, they still have guys like Andres Jimenez, Ernie Clement, who was a very, very good contact hitter, or pretty much all we saw. First base, they have some pieces over there as well. They're pitching. You still have Gausman. Trey Savage is really kind of blossoming into another guy. You brought in Dylan Cease, and I know, of course, Dylan Cease was a guy that was a massive overpay, but he could be just kind of in your big part of the rotation. And then when guys like Jose Barrios and Shane Bieber, of course, come back, you still have a lot of really good options there. And I really think the pickup of Kazuma Okamoto is going to be a really underrated type of move. A lot of people are going to kind of realize this guy can hit for power. He could hit for contact. And so I like this a lot. And, of course, you have our killer, Ryan. Vladdy Jr. is still there.
Oh, daddy?
Well, of course you want to say that. So
he's our daddy. Oh, for sure. He's our daddy at this point.
So I am picking the Toronto Blue Jays to come out of the American League East this next year. My number 2 is going to be your Yankees. Ryan, I think that the Yankees are going to probably – so I have the Blue Jays winning about 94, 95 games, and I think the Yankees are going to be around 90, 91. That's just kind of the way I see it right now. The Red Sox, the way I have it looked right now is I have them in third. I think our pitching is going to be very, very solid, but I just worry about where our power is going to be coming from. So I have us as a wild card team, but I have them as my third place team, winning about 84, 85 games. And then I have the Baltimore Orioles, especially now with what is the situation with their infield right now. I still do not believe really much in their pitching rotation. They just have a lot of questions. They have some guys that could, of course, be really, really good, but could they all put it together? Can they all stay healthy? And then the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, the Rays, of course, moved on from guys like Brandon Lau and some other guys. I mean, yeah, they have Yandy Diaz, but the Rays are going to do pretty much everything that they can to fit their ballpark, get Tropicana Field back, and that's just kind of what the Rays are going to be this year for me. So I have Blue Jays number 1, Yankees number 2, Red Sox number 3, Orioles number 4, and the Rays number 5. Ryan, I'm going to go to my AL East for my friends here. What do you have as your predictions?
I agree with you basically on everybody where they finish except for the end. I'm just going to flip-flop the Orioles and the Rays. I'm going to say the Orioles come in last and the Rays come in fourth. The reason being for that is because the Rays, despite almost never seemingly making any big splashes in the offseason, they always, if there's one thing that I've learned with the Rays, they never come in last. They don't finish in dead last. They now finish in fourth place. That is where they are most comfortable with, no matter what. So, yes, The Orioles got Pete Alonso, the polar bear, but, I'm still not totally sold on them as a team entirely. Their pitching rotation, yes, they made a couple of upgrades to that rotation, if you even want to call them that, but they're not the sexiest names. Shane Baz, decent. It was a very good pitcher for the Rays. But he's very good. I think that's his ceiling. I don't think he's going to necessarily compete for the Cy Young Award anytime soon. Zach Eflin's obviously back. Eflin, he's got decent stuff. He'll give you a couple of good starts, but he's also very hittable when he's not on. The Orioles, I don't really trust that rotation still. They obviously have Gunnar Henderson still in that lineup. He's probably their biggest threat. You don't know what you're going to get out of Adley Rutschman this year. Are the Orioles going to give up on him, really? Because Rutschman was so bad last year. Yeah. They're going to be without Jackson Holliday for a little bit. Now they're going to be without Jordan Westberg. So, the Orioles are a major question mark. They just have a lot of injuries, and I don't know if they truly have enough to compete this year at this point. I think they're going to take another step back this year. The Blue Jays, I don't think there's any question that they're the favorites to repeat as AL East champs this year. Everybody really came into their own last year. Tremendous seasons career seasons from basically everybody across the board. Yep. The Blue Jays are obviously a team to be reckoned with. They obviously are hungry. The World Series loss is still stinging with them. So I think that they're the favorites. Yankees are basically the same team from last year. They'll be good during the regular season, but I expect them to run out of gas in the postseason as usual. Red Sox, great pitching, questionable hitting, and the Rays are the Rays. All
right. So that's it. David, I'll go to you. Your first ever predictions on hitting for the cycle. Let's see.
Yeah. I am the opposite of both of you. I have Boston in the division.
This is why we like to have a third guy here.
Ryan's eyes got real big. That starting rotation impressed me. They're 6 deep, and I think they got some really good hitting. And I really like the rotation part of them more than anything else. So I have Boston winning the division.
Oh,
I have
Boston.
the Yankees second.
I thought you said Baltimore.
No, Boston.
Boston. All right.
Yeah, Boston first, Yankees second.
Okay.
I think, like you said, Yankees. He said same team, won 94 games. Didn't really do much. And then the thing is, we'll see how this pans out. What's not really has been mentioned a lot is that Cole probably could come back by June, July, maybe from that surgery.
The latest. I mean, there could be a chance he comes back late May, early June. That's what we're thinking, though.
That's probably like the most optimal.
But at least, it's another arm, and you need arms. It's a veteran thing, so I like that. I think Toronto's going backwards this year. Losing Bichette, you don't have Santander all year. You signed a guy for $30 million who won 7 games last year, and Dylan Cease. You don't have Bieber. That's how it hasn't been really mentioned. I'm not really sold on. I mean, Toronto's got great. They got some really good hitters. I get all that. And they were Miguel Rojas away from winning the world title.
I would have thought that.
Of all the guys, I'm gonna say I think it's still gonna be close between the Yankees, Toronto, and Baltimore with wins, like all in that 82 to 89 thing. So, but I'm gonna say Toronto goes third, Baltimore fourth. Got Alonso. I think he's gonna hit a ton of home runs down there, but their pitching's a little And then with the Rays, your big news this offseason is a new roof, new turf, and Drew Rasmussen as your opening day starter. So maybe like 65 wins for them.
All right. We have like 15 minutes left on the first, so we just going to kind of rapid fire like the other two. So for me, the Central, basically just kind of go through the teams, just can't really break it down unfortunately right now. But for me, the Central, I got the Tigers. They just obviously have the best rotation, obviously adding Framber. My number 2, I'm going to go with Kansas City Royals. Number 3, I got Cleveland. And then number 4, I got the White Sox. Number 5, I got the Twins. I think that the Twins are just going to be dreadful this year. And now it's, of course, losing Lopez. Ryan, I'll go to you. Your Central.
Yeah, I agree with I have the same order as you do, basically. I have the Tigers first, Royals second, Guards third. White Sox, little improvement this year out of the cellar. They're fourth, and the Twinkies fifth.
David.
Detroit, Cleveland, Kansas City, Minnesota, White Sox. White Sox improved, but they're still the basement boys.
I wouldn't be surprised.
American League West. This one might be a little interesting, but I'm going to go Seattle, number 1. Houston, we go the Athletics, number 3.
Wow.
I'm really high on the A's this year.
Yeah.
For some odd reason. Texas, number 4, and number 5, the Angels.
All right. Well, I got Seattle winning the West again this year. They're my number 1. Number 2, I would probably go Houston. Texas, the 3rd and 4th places. This is where it gets really tough.
Yeah.
I
went bold, but it's up to you.
I'll go Texas number 3. I'm not but I wouldn't be shocked if that doesn't happen. I'll go Texas 3, the A's 4th, and the Angels 5th.
How about you, David?
Seattle blows out the division. They might win 100 games this year. They'll win the West easily. I got Texas tough with a second. I got Houston third. They're starting to go like this a little bit on the decline. I love the A's. I just hate their pitching. Aaron Saravalli and Severino. Yeah. And then with the Angels, I'm predicting worst team in baseball this year. They might lose well over 100 games this year.
I picked the A's partly because I do think they're going to be a little bit better, but I also really worry about the injury risk to the rotation on Texas. It has been something that has been a massive issue the last couple of years. So I think it's asking a lot for the Rangers, basically out slug. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. And plus, I want to just see some fun, like drama. They deserve it. All right, this is our last topic, and this is one of our bigger topics on the program that I wanted to make sure we got into. So people, unless you're living under a rock, at least baseball fans wise, there is a massive situation going on with the CBA and in baseball. And this came out as of yesterday or 2 days ago regarding the MLB unions of no other than Tony Clark. And Jeff Passan 2 days ago put out a tweet saying that Tony Clark has planned to resign as an executive director of Major League Baseball Players Association. Sources tell DVNJR and me. Clark's resignation comes in at the wake of the Eastern District of New York's investigation turning alleged financial improprieties at the union. They're supposed to have a meeting with the players at Cleveland camp. That, of course, did not happen because he got resigned. Later on in the day, we find out I had to kind of go away from my workplace after seeing this. Tony Clark got resigned after an internal investigation revealing that he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who had been hired by the union in 2023. I mean, just talk about just madness when it comes to. I don't know if you guys how much read into the story, but this is just terrible, really, really bad. Now they had a call around 4:30. The union is expected to hold a vote as soon as tomorrow for the new guy. The new guy, of course, got announced yesterday. Very, very not surprising that Bruce Meyer has been unanimously elected as the executive. And he's going to be the new intern at the union, and he's becoming the 6th executive director in the union's history. Now, the expiration date of the CBA is going to be expiring at December 1st, and he's going to be the intern for right now. So with everything kind of put into there, man, it does not look good. And it was something that of Clark for Clark's situation, of course, that is just another level bad. But just prepare for concerts in 2027. Prepare for. I think our network is going to be having some stuff for us to talk about. Poor David. David, of course, make sure you really enjoy this season because next season, your second year on us, so it might not be as exciting, unfortunately, for stuff to talk about. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts about this? There's really, for me, I can go a lot of different avenues, but I think the biggest thing I kind of just look at is just, Meyer, of course, is a very hard negotiator. I was listening to Jim Bowden yesterday. Of course, you guys know Jim Bowden from Athletic. He was saying that Meyer is a guy that will pretty much just shut any different type of, situation or just proposal down. Like, he's just like, I'm not taking anything from that. So yeah, what do you guys think? It's not good. But so, like, people, of course, want to talk about spring training and enjoying that. We got the World Baseball Classic. Enjoy it this year, because next year, I'll enjoy all the fake baseball I can. I'm excited to watch my team play Northeastern tomorrow more than any time, because I'm looking at it, next year around May, 2027, and just looking at it saying, well, I got to get stuck in watching a Netflix series that I don't want to watch or something like that. So it's going to be tough, but thankfully we don't have to worry about it this year, but next year, that'll be another story.
Well, the way I look at it, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It's basically what it boils down to with Tony Clark. Don't really have sympathy for him here in this scenario. He screwed up. He knew what he was doing, if you ask me, and now he had to resign. I feel bad for his wife. I feel bad for his family. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Oh my God, his poor wife. Yeah, and this could not have come at a worse time for the Players Association with the CBA expiring at the end of the year. So now we're looking at a completely different environment for negotiations during the offseason. God knows if they're going to be even worse compared to if Clark was still the player representative or representing the MLBPA. So, yeah. This was really dumb. This was completely avoidable. Clark not only hurt himself, his wife, but now he also hurt he hurt a lot of paid people. And now, there's a lot of uncertainty going into this offseason. We don't know how long this lockout could possibly go, where I think we'd be lucky to get maybe 100 games next season, if you ask me. Mike's off.
Mike's off. You got it. There you go.
Sorry, how about you, David?
The way I see it is the Tony Clark thing. I just kind of moved on from that whole mess, to put it lightly, which it is. It seems like Bruce Meyer's already hit the ground running. He's already spoken with teams. He spoke with the Cubs. He spoke with the Yankees. He spoke with the Guardians. Seems like the players are all on the same page. It's almost like next man up in terms of leadership, whatever. I don't know what this guy will be, as it goes on. Will he be even a hardline player union guy, like worse than Clark or whatever you want to call it? My mindset is that there's going to be a lockout. There's supposedly one owner who said they want to burn this to the ground, the whole, I guess, salary cap, whatever else you want to call it. It's a new leader. I'm not expecting anything to change going into the lockout thing. It's going to happen in December. We're probably going to miss a decent amount of the season next year, if not all. I said all for 27. In terms of like summer next year, will be a lot of International League and Pacific Coast League if I want to watch baseball and college. But yeah, I don't think anything is really going to change. I think Stephen Kwan, I guess, gave a warning to the owners more or less, like, hey, let's start talking. Whatever. Austin Wells has said, I want to have a deal here done here. He was talked about it, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking at this tweet from yesterday from Jesse Rogers. I don't know if you guys know Jesse Rogers, but he's a very well-known baseball reporter. So he said more from MLBPAs, like you mentioned, David, about Bruce Meyer meeting with some teams. And he met with some of the Cubs players this afternoon, pretty much saying this: a lockout is all but guaranteed at the end of the agreement. The league has pretty much been saying that. Their strategy in bargaining has always been kind of put to that, as much pressure on the players as they can, and to create divisions and cracks among our membership. It's never worked. I don't think it'll ever work. And then Ian Happ, of course, said some things as well, pretty much referring that we had this situation before, and we're pretty much prepared for another one to come. So it's of course not fun stuff as baseball fans, but we've got obviously going to have to live with it. Thankfully, we don't have to live with it this year, but we're probably going to be thinking about it probably later on in the season, especially during the dog days of summer. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, of course, that was a massive storyline that we wanted to get into before the show was over for today. So my final thoughts is baseball's back, at least for this year. So I'm very excited. Looking forward to seeing some fake baseball this weekend. Hopefully U.S. will take the gold by this weekend. Hopefully next week I'll be excited about that. Just I'm really tired of this weather as well. Just get me just some 50 to 60 degree weather. And I like having the cold weather, but it's just been aggravating. So that's all my thoughts. How about you, Ron?
I'm ready for the season. I kind of just wanted to get it started already. The longer the winter goes, the closer we get to spring training, the more antsy or anxious I get. So I just want to get it in already.
What about you, Dave?
For me, I'll be curious to see how the first week of spring training goes with not only injuries, because there'll probably be some more coming up here, but also who kind of has a bad starts to the spring training and who kind of like comes out of nowhere and has a hot start to his spring training where they start talking about them maybe going to the majors instead of back to the minors. Like one guy to keep an eye on, at least for me to watch, is Mr. Griffin from the Pittsburgh Pirates, who's been tearing it up in batting practice. And sounds like they want him maybe to be starting shortstop in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, next week we'll probably have some overreaction Thursday or Friday, whenever the show about spring training. Talk about that. And, so it should be really, really exciting stuff. So I know, of course, we're getting into almost the hour here. So I think, that'll pretty much do it. Next week, of course, like I said, we'll probably be here back again on Thursday and Friday. I'm going to be turning 30 within next week. So I'm very, very excited about that as well. So by the time, not after this episode, but the following episode, I'll be having a new century mark, at least for my age. But thank you guys for watching another episode 89 of Hitting for the Cycle, and we will see you guys next week.